Good day, everybody, and thank you for joining us live or for viewing this recording of our Coffee and Clouds webcast series, Lowering Cost of Chrome. I'm Alan Falcon. I'm the CEO here at Cumulus Global, and I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy day and week for attending live or for watching this session. Just as a quick reminder, all the audio is muted, so for those on live, please ask your questions using the questions window. There's an icon, you can access it on the top or right-hand side of your screen. And the session's being recorded. Those of you who are watching the recording know this. It's available on our website. A reminder that we have a number of great resources available. We've been expanding our blogging again. This and other Coffee and Cloud webcasts, as well as our monthly third Tuesday at 3 webcasts and a bunch of new documents, ebooks, infographics in our library as well. Please take a moment to visit that as well. For those watching the recording, I'll provide contact information to the company and for myself personally at the end of the session. Feel free, and again, for attending or for viewing this recording, if you selected one and want to receive one, you'll get a Starbucks or a Dunkin card in the mail with a thank you note as well. So as we dive into the topic of lowering the cost of Chrome, we really want to talk about the lifecycle approach. We're not unique in promoting this. It's a good IT practice to look at acquisition management, disposition, and we throw in BYOD support, just knowing that a number of businesses and schools have BYOD programs, and Chrome devices can be a part of those as well. And so when we walk through all of these components, we'll talk about a little more detail, the type of services you want in place, either providing them yourself or with a partner like Cumulus Global to ensure that you're getting the most value and the most value out of your Chrome program, that it's sustainable, and that wherever possible, you're lowering that total cost of ownership. And certainly having a life cycle approach gives you perspective and opens up savings opportunities that would not be there otherwise if you simply view your Chrome device, even other IT purchases, as simply necessary transactions at the time you make the purchase. So starting with the acquisition process, there are a couple of different components. First, we want to talk about purchase and finance. And there are a couple of things that we can do to help lower the cost of acquisition. First and foremost is purchase pre-registration. If you know today, here in February, when we're recording this, that you're going to be acquiring Chrome devices later this spring for your school to have in time for the fall semester, if you know your desired make and model, we can pre-register that purchase with the vendor. It secures the allocation of units for on-time delivery, and oftentimes, because we're helping them manage demand, they will offer, or we can request and negotiate lower purchasing prices for you. Another thing that you can do is do competitive bidding. Again, if you know your make and model, there are multiple distributors. Each of them has their own relationship with the manufacturers. So when you work with a partner, if they work with multiple distributors, we do, many don't, but we're happy to bid that across the multiple distributors to see which distributor can have the best pricing. And sometimes that could simply be because a distributor ordered a model for inventory based on expectations, and if sales are slower than anticipated, they're looking to move the inventory out of their warehouse. It could simply, we've had situations where existing inventory was marked down because they had large orders coming in and they were looking to free up space in the warehouse so they could manage those larger orders. If you're not particularly tied to any manufacturer of Chrome device, we're more than happy to bid the specs out to multiple manufacturers, again, letting them know that, hey, we've got a client, they're looking for X number of devices. They like your brand, but they're also looking at your, two biggest competitors. And here are their specs, which model and what price can you offer, and do that. Finally, if you've got existing devices that are retiring or coming out of service, we can take those in trade. Usually the manufacturers aren't buying them back, but we've got third-party companies we work with who pay us for these devices, and we can pass that savings on to you as trade-in value. And those trade-ins are done with free pickup of the devices, or we provide you with shipping labels to get them shipped out. And finally, we can talk about financing. Most businesses and schools will purchase their devices outright. Some businesses will do finance leasing. A finance lease is where you pay for the unit over time, and at the end, there's a penny buyout or a dollar buyout, and you can own the unit or you can turn them back in. It's harder for school districts, particularly as government entities, to do finance leases in many jurisdictions. That type of finance borrowing is restricted to certain processes that just make doing it very complicated and costly, in paperwork and effort internally. However, fair market value leasing offers a great opportunity. So a fair market value lease is where you look to acquire, a batch of Chrome devices or other equipment. That those devices will have a fair market value at the end of, say, a 3-year lease. And so because of that, you're going to turn the devices back in to the leasing company at the end of the lease. And in doing such, a couple of things. One, you're not financing the full purchase price. You're financing the purchase price less that fair market value that they project at the end of the lease. And they assume some risk there, obviously. And additionally, when most of the schools that we help with fair market value leasing, they're doing a 3-year lease with annual payments, which means you're paying a third up front. So you're really only financing two-thirds of the purchase price less that fair market value. And with interest rates so low, you can do fair market value leasing, protect your cash flow, pay for your devices over a 3-year period without even adding to or without significantly adding to the total cost of ownership of those devices. In some instances, because of the fair market value, your total cost of ownership with a fair market value over the course of 3 years will be less than an outright purchase. And so it's something to consider and keep in mind. Also on the acquisition is the value add. And the types of things that we can bundle in or that you may want to have bundled in with your purchases. And that could be things that save you time and money, such as pre-configuring the devices at the warehouse before they're shipped with your standard network and proxy settings. Even standard extensions and applications can be pushed out, in getting an inventory not only of serial numbers, but MAC address. And that MAC address inventory is important depending on how you're securing your network, what you're doing for firewall and filtering and device control. Additionally, we can arrange for things such as physical tamper-proof asset tags and serial number tracking. And some schools with the funding and the desire will have property tags etched or even have school logos etched on the covers or the back of the devices. And certainly a whole range of accessories that your students might need. And this really comes down to whether the school is going to provide these accessories or you're going to be looking for, students to do it on their own and even, acquire them on their own. We have schools, for example, that will buy charging stations and extra chargers to have in the building. So if students arrive and haven't fully charged their device overnight, we're able to do it. Certainly adapted devices for students with special needs. And we have had schools who've worked with us to make available technology-safe backpacks. Again, because we're in a business channel, not a retail channel, oftentimes we're able to provide those backpacks at 25 to 50% less than families who are going out to retail stores and making the same purchase or a similar purchase. And so there's an opportunity to add value to your program there as well. The next phase of that life cycle is management. And there are a couple of things to keep in mind. Sound inventory management is a great idea, not just serial numbers and asset tags, but those MAC addresses. And understanding service dates and assignments. Is this device assigned to a particular student, a particular classroom, a particular grade or building? And keeping accurate track of service status. Devices that are out of service for repair have been relegated to use for parts, potentially for repairing others, or are in service. Doing that gives you an accurate picture as you approach the end of life and look to disposition about which units have value and which units should simply be disposed of. And certainly within that concept, a life cycle and refresh planning. And pre-plan your refresh cycles based on your preferred usable lifespan. For most of our schools, they look at Chrome devices. The Chromebooks is a 3-year lifespan. We have some schools that will stretch parts of their fleet to 4 years. We have other schools who are more aggressive and have the funding that they're looking to replace every 2 years, and keeping some of those devices for a third year as backup or for alternate purposes. And when you look at that life cycle planning, it's all, this is where that inventory management and service status tracking comes in. You can do cost analysis to decide, as you have these devices, when is it better to repair versus replace or reallocate equipment, and what, and you can project end of life value. So for example, if your school year ends mid-June, If you provide us make, model, and quantity of Chromebooks that are in operating order today, we can project what the trade-in value or even a cash buyback value would be for that device come mid-June. Now, when you get closer to disposing of the equipment, we'll do a formal quote that's binding, but we can give you an estimate for planning purposes to understand what financial gain you might have by tapping in now versus waiting, or simply even waiting till next fall as those devices age. And then the other thing that we can offer from a management standpoint is warranty service assistance, in that ensuring that the vendor and distributor services that you get or have purchased as a value add are prompt and effective. Effectively, we become an advocate and a point of escalation if and when you run into service issues. And speaking of protection plans, there are two types out there, and both serve different, slightly different needs and can be matched to your particular needs. Most of the manufacturers now offer extended warranties, and most of the Chromebook manufacturers offer extended warranties with an option for accidental damage protection. And so when we talk about ADP, or accidental damage protection, we're talking about, spilled drinks on keyboards, devices being dropped, backpacks left on the roof of a car and a parent drives off and it goes tumbling. We've seen that happen. Fire damage, when a student's had a fire in their home and the computer was damaged, covers all of those things. And you can also get these from third-party providers as well. And as you look at what your needs are, it's important to understand the restrictions. So for example, some of them will cover each type of repair only once. Other of these plans will do unlimited types and repetitive repairs up to the value of the machine. So there may be a dollar limit on what they're willing to do. So it's good to sort of understand your risk profile and what your needs might be, and we can help you match a manufacturer or third-party program to best suit your needs. Additionally, we can help you with self-insurance, which effectively means you're going to have spares available so that if a machine is damaged and becomes unusable, you can replace it. And for some school, it's a math equation, right? How many units are getting damaged each year? That would be covered under warranty claims. And is the cost of providing that warranty coverage more or less than the cost of simply buying additional units and swapping them out? And then deciding whether it's worth fixing or disposing of the units that have been damaged or have been brought out of service. And we can help you with that assessment, with that analysis as well. Now, many school districts and certainly a number of businesses have moved, particularly with schools in the high school grade level, and certainly with our colleges and universities that work with us, to have bring your own device. And we offer a number of BYOD support services. The first is group purchasing, right? So that if the school is moving, I apologize, I thought I had put myself on Do Not Disturb there, so you got to see I had an incoming call. But group purchasing, we can help you with device selection, managing payments and sales tax, school delivery for distribution to schools and to students and their families. And we can even include white glove services such as pre-configuration, so that when the student opens the device in the school building, it's up, it's running, it connects to the network, they're good to go. And that's more of a situation where the school will let families know that they're responsible for devices. They'll give them an option of device. The school will collect the orders, bundle those, and work with us to get the devices ordered and delivered. And we can certainly help without that, throughout that process behind the scenes. The other option, which we've worked with a number of school districts on, is BYOD stores. This is where we set up an online store, manage it for you. We create purchasing windows where we can offer group delivery to the school. So we'll say, hey, in the next 3 weeks, if you order by this date, we're placing the order. It'll be delivered in 2 to 4 weeks to the school. You'll pick it up, or it'll be delivered to your child's classroom. Oftentimes, we're able to negotiate volume discounts with vendors. We've also worked with schools where, in addition to a purchasing window, we've allowed individual sales where we'll ship the device to the student's home. And sometimes we're able, within certain limits, we can do free shipping. Other times shipping becomes a factor. What's interesting about the BYOD stores is oftentimes they provide great information, and many parents will look at that information and then go and choose to purchase retail. That's fine with us. We're still helping you manage your BYOD program. And us putting up a BYOD store doesn't have to actually cost the school district anything. Additionally, those stores give us an opportunity to offer accessories, recommended accessories that you'd like the students to have, such as a carrying case or tech-safe backpack, things of that nature. So then we get to disposition. You've bought your machines, you've been managing it well, we've helped the process of getting the devices into the students' hands. We can start, the first thing with disposition is, even if whether you have to pay for disposal or you have free disposal, the best bet is to contact us about our buyback and trade-in programs. We can start estimating the value you will receive up to 6 months in advance for budgeting purposes, as I noted earlier. Within 30 days of your disposal date, we can get you a firm quote. Our quotes include the pickup and the shipping. Now, there is a verification. So for Chromebooks, the general rule is the unit has to power on and boot, and the screen has to be undamaged, meaning you can't have cracks or dead pixels or other screen damage. The screen being the most expensive component of a Chromebook, right? So what will happen is if you hypothetically you have 200 devices you're retiring in June, we can give you a value for those. We'll send you shipping labels, or a company will come and put them on a pallet, shrink wrap them, and take them away. They'll go to our technology vendor that works with us on these buyback and trade-in programs, who will power up each device. Each device that's functioning, they'll issue a credit, and then we can issue a check in cash if it's buyback, or we can credit your invoice for your next round of Chromebooks towards those purchases. You'll know the value per unit that you're going to get. It's simply a confirmation that the units are in basic working order. If you've got different equipment and other equipment you want, we do work with used equipment brokers. We can help you put your surplus equipment out to bid to resale brokers. And if you have other types of equipment that might have sensitive information, we do partner and can help facilitate secure destruction services as well. The best value we've seen instances, for example, we've had schools get as much as $50 per iPad at the end of the service life of the iPad. And we've seen values of Chromebooks anywhere from $12 to $20, or a little north of $20 per unit as well. And so when you think about Chromebooks that are costing in the 200 plus or minus range, a $20 trade-in value for existing device, that $12 to $20 range is going to save you 5 to 8, maybe 10% on the purchase of those new devices, which is significant for the budget, makes the finance and the administration happy, and helps keep your program sustainable. So what are your next steps before we head into the Q&A? Is one, assess your needs and priorities. How can we help? Do you want to sell devices? Do you want that trade-in value? Can we assist you with lowering the cost of acquisition, better managing the cash flow, bundling additional services that save you time and money in the long term? And with that understanding of your needs and priorities, work with us to manage your total cost of ownership and execute. We have ChromeCycle services that are services we offer, as we've outlined here today. Our ChromeCycle services are part of our broader range of our Google EDU partner services. Also, I do want to mention, as it's February 2021, that the cost of Chrome licensing for education is going up from $30 per device to $38. If you are ordering Chrome devices later this year, you can pre-order those licenses before the price increase. And if you're connected with us with ChromeCycle or Google EDU partner services, we discount that $30 Chrome licensing as well. Standard, if it's a large purchase, we can negotiate broader discounts and things of that nature. So please assess, plan, execute. Regardless, contact us. The best way to contact us is info@cumulusglobal.com, or you can contact me directly, Falcon@cumulusglobal.com. Phone numbers are up there. I can tell you I'm bad at answering voicemail messages. So before we open this up to Q&A, I do want to thank those who are watching the recorded version of the session. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to do that and joining us. In doing that, I'll stop the recording and continue on with the Q&A for those in the live session. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you wanted one, we'll get your coffee card in the mail as well. And please let us know how we can help, how we can serve you. Thanks, and have a great day.